It's the last day of 2025 and that means lots of celebration, revelry and a fond look back at the year that has been. We'll focus on the celebrations for the moment. In Bengaluru's party and lifestyle capital of Church Street, the city is going all in on New Year's Eve with pubs, restaurants and the street itself all decked up to ring in 2026. Meanwhile, in Chennai, the city's retail capital, T Nagar, is seeing shoppers catch up with their last-minute shopping lists as they get set for midnight. I'm at Marina Beach right now where, while the revelry is high, the police personnel here have been ensuring that mostly law and order is in place as they ensure that New Year's Eve celebrations are safe in the city. I did a New Year's Eve mood check from Chennai a little earlier in the day. Let's take a look. Tamil Nadu, a day after it announced that Chennai and Coimbatore stations would see doubling of their capacities, the Southern Railways has now decided to turn 65 train routes hailing or terminating at Chennai's MGR Central Station into superfast trains. Interestingly, a number of these trains involve routes to and from Kerala. My colleague Samir joins us now with a roundup of the latest from the railways. Samir.
If you are planning to travel by train from 1st of January 2026 in southern India, then you need to check your train running status. And this is because a new train running timetable will come into effect from 1st of January 2026. And as per the new train timetable, there are many trains, the speed of which has been increased, and this means that the distance traveled, the time distance is going to be reduced significantly. So as per Southern Railways, there are 65 trains which include Mail, Express and Superfast train, the timings of which has been revised, and this the average speed of these trains have been increased. So this simply means that the train running or the time taking from point A to point B will be reduced, and this will help the passenger to reach their destination a bit faster. But why this is very important for railways? Because they have undertaken very important projects. The upgradation project in the past, for example, the rail track upgradation that has helped railways to increase the average speed of the train. Now the rail tracks on important section has been upgraded to handle the train speed from 110 kmph to 130 kmph. Similarly, the locomotives, the engine, now more powerful.
Moving on to politics next, Kollywood A-lister, actor turned politician Vijay's last film, Jananayagan, may have already set the box office on fire. And this, even as we're a good week and a half away from the film's release date. According to industry tracker Saknilk, Jananayagan may have already grossed over 1 crore rupees in pre-bookings alone for its opening day. And we're talking numbers just from the state of Karnataka. Now, according to these reports, advance bookings for Jananayagan have opened with over 20 early morning shows across the state. There's been a sizable level of fanfare for this film in particular. Remember, Vijay has himself said Jananayagan will be his last film. The actor decided to take his plunge into the world of politics in 2024, announcing his decision to contest elections in the Tamil Nadu Assembly polls next year. We're given to understand the film itself will be Vijay's big political pitch, which in turn has observers, fans, analysts and political rivals keeping a close eye on the film that's all set to release on the 9th of January 2026. Staying with politics, reports have now emerged that the India alliance in Tamil Nadu may have seen its fault lines widen. A social media post by Congress MP Manikam Tagore today has the MP express surprise at the Congress's allies like the DMK and the VCK allegedly interfering in the party's internal affairs. The post, written in Tamil, has the Virudunagar MP questioning how these parties would react if another party or another ally were to have a say in their internal discourses. The issue that Tagore refers to has largely to do with AIPC chairman Praveen Chakravarti calling out Tamil Nadu's debt figure on social media, drawing comparisons between the state and Uttar Pradesh's total debt number. Chakravarti's post has irked the Congress's allies like the DMK and VCK, which have criticized the post and its author. Tagore's criticism of these long-standing allies of the Congress now may well suggest that all isn't well, at least at the mid-level leadership of parties like the Congress and DMK. It's good news for EV owners in Tamil Nadu now in what is being seen as a fresh push to accelerate EV adoption. The Tamil Nadu government has extended its 100% road tax exemption on all electric vehicles until December 31st, 2027. The move comes after emphatic requests from EV manufacturers and industry stakeholders across the state. The extension, effective January 1st, 2026, tomorrow, applies to both transport and non-transport EVs, including two-wheelers, cars and three-wheeler auto rickshaws registered in Tamil Nadu. Officials believe that the continued waiver will make EVs more affordable for buyers and provide long-term certainty for manufacturers, reinforcing the state's commitment to sustainable mobility. Tamil Nadu's EV adoption rate has climbed to about 7.8% in 2025, but industry leaders say further incentives are needed to reach critical mass and support charging infrastructure growth across the state. Shifting focus to the data center space now, Singapore-based Capital Land India Trust will divest a 20.2% stake in 3 under-development data center assets to the Capital Land India Data Center Fund for about 702 crore rupees. 2 out of the 3 data centers in focus are in Hyderabad and Chennai. Now, as per the terms of the divestment, the Capital Land India Trust will retain a majority share in the portfolio even after this partial sale, which is aimed at monetizing assets very early on in their development cycle and improving balance sheet flexibility. The divestment, remember, is part of the Trust's broader strategy to unlock value and support its ongoing development pipeline across key Indian cities. The 3 data centers are in Navi Mumbai, Chennai and Hyderabad, all designed to be AI-ready with secured power capacity. The Capital Land Data Center Fund will also have a right of first offer on Capital Land's 4th data center in Bengaluru. Staying with the data center segment now, it's been a stellar 2025 as far as this market goes. Names like Google, Reliance Industries, and the Adani Group coughed up massive investments towards setting up new capacities in Andhra Pradesh, which stood out as India's top data center magnet. But that's not to say other South Indian states didn't keep up with the data center influx this year. Here's my roundup of the year that was in the data center space and the investments that mattered. 2025 marked a breakout year for data center investments in South India. Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu together saw over $25 billion in investment commitments this year alone. Capacity announcements crossed the 1 gigawatt mark in Andhra as global hyperscalers and Indian conglomerates accelerated bets on large-scale AI-ready infrastructure. It's been a year like no other in the data center space. 2025 saw South India position itself as one of the fastest growing destinations for data center and AI infrastructure investments, backed by global hyperscalers and domestic tech majors. The biggest announcement came from Google, $15 billion over the next 5 years to develop a gigawatt-scale AI data center and innovation hub in Visakhapatnam, one of its largest technology investments in India outside the US. Not to be left out, Reliance Industries' JV Digital Connections signed an MOU for an $11 billion data center campus in the same region, while Meta, Sifi, and other hyperscalers also made investments in Vizag.
We released our numbers mid-year, according to which, roughly around 98 megawatts of new capacity, pre-committed capacity that got commissioned in the first half of the year. That number for the total year should land up roughly between 220 to 240 megawatts per se.
What stood out in 2025 was the scale of execution. Data center campuses announced this year in South India span hundreds of acres with individual facilities designed for 300 to 1,000 megawatts of load. State governments back these projects up with incentive packages running into multiple billions of dollars, reflecting the race to secure power, land, and digital relevance. And not all of it was in Vizag. In South India, Telangana netted data center investments worth 3,500 crore rupees from ST Telemedia Global Data Centers for an AI-ready campus near Hyderabad, while the Adani Group is developing a 2,500 crore rupee green data center focused on cloud and AI workloads in the state that it invested in earlier this year. Karnataka on its path saw fresh capacity planned across Mangaluru, Mysuru and the Hubli-Dharwad cluster. Homegrown players are also scaling up. This includes Control S's 4,000 crore rupee data center in Chennai, which it announced in early 2025.
Our Prime Minister was amongst the first leaders in the world who spoke about data localization. And today, every country, whichever can do it, is wanting to localize their data. And India has this added advantage that our Prime Minister spoke about it in 2019, and since then, the infrastructure started building up. Today, most of Indian data is outside India, and eventually, thanks to the Data Protection Act, which is very good for the country, eventually the data has to come back.
2025 also clarified the names that are building South India's data center ecosystem. Global technology players like Google and Meta, Indian conglomerates led by Reliance Industries, and specialist operators like Sifi Technologies and Tillman Global Holdings all committed projects in the region this year. Together, they marked a shift from scattered facilities to a more consolidated, hyperscale-driven market. So that puts the focus now on 2026. With a slew of announcements made this year, experts say major South Indian cities could be in the running for massive data center absorption over the next few months, which in turn could double capacities in the new year.
Chennai has taken the lead amongst other cities today in grabbing this opportunity. Quite a lot of data centers are already in place now. Bombay and Calcutta are also competing now. So I expect this to double in the next 1 to 2 years' time.
The deals which have been transacted over the last 12 to 18 months, we expect that a lot of those deliveries will start coming online next year. In our expectation is that the actual delivery of capacity in 2026 should be somewhere north of 400 megawatts, which means whatever we're doing in 2025, we're going to double that in 2026, just in terms of delivery.
And with that, the 2025 data center boom may have begun seeing its sunset, but 2026 holds the promise of so much more. In Chennai, Jude Sanat. Well, what can we say? It's truly been a fruitful 2025 for the data center segment, with the promise of so much more come next year itself. And as we come to the end of the year, we at South Central thought the time is just about right to look back on all the high points of the year that was for South India. Now, these are high points and highlights that we captured, covered and brought to you as exclusive stories and interviews day in and day out right here on South Central. So first up on South Central Rewind, our exclusive with Bengaluru International Airport Limited's MD and CEO Hari Marar most watched story on this year on how Bengaluru's Kempegowda Airport is all set for its next phase of expansion, adding 2.78 million square feet, 40 aircraft aprons and a total passenger capacity of 85 million by 2028. Here's a slice of that conversation.
So in the next 4 years, we're spending about 19,800 crores. And the money is being spent on multiple projects and not just the expansion of Terminal 2. Terminal 2 expansion is one of the bigger elements of the overall program, but there are many elements that are part of it. So like you rightly said, what you see today in Terminal 2, this is just half of the terminal. The second half is going to be built out on that side. And when you said we're going to start work next year, if you actually go out there, you'll see mobilization for the excavation starting right now. Right. So it's starting now. Right. So that is started. We will add capacity, 40 aircraft parking stands, 278,000 square meters of space, 2.78 million square feet of space, by the way. All of that is going to be added to create the capacity from a terminal standpoint. And this terminal, which is currently rated roughly of having about 25 million passengers capacity, will move to anywhere between 45 and 50 million passengers. Right. And with the capacity of Terminal 1 being at about 35 million, we'll have a total capacity built up for about 80 million passengers between these two terminals. Mm-hmm. Till 2033, there is a commitment that there should be no new airport that comes up, which can affect our exclusivity. So with Hosur Airport, with the government of Tamil Nadu, we have had lots of discussions. And we said, listen, Hosur Airport can be operationalized as long as we are operating it. Similarly with Bangalore, we're going to follow what the government does. And what we're expecting is a fair, transparent process to make sure that the second airport is set up. Is it an opportunity for us? 100%, because we will bid for that airport.
Right. As will you for Hosur too, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. 100%.
So
For
everything-
Hosur, there will not even be a bid. If Hosur has to open before 2033, then it has to be only, that will be made possible only if we are operating it.
Right.
And we have made that clear.
Absolutely.
Now, if the government of Tamil Nadu decides that we will wait till 2033 and open it, then it will be a bid process and we'll participate in that as well.
Absolutely.
Having said that, I don't think both of them can exist.
Our other big exclusive this year was Karnataka IT Minister Priyank Kharge. I got talking to him at the Bengaluru Tech Summit to get the state's blueprint on its 11.5 lakh crore rupee IT export target, the much talked about investment rat race between Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, and plans for Bengaluru's second airport. Let's take a look at our next story on South Central Rewind.
The idea is not to compete with the neighbors because we are really not competing with them. While they might think they're competing with us, but we love competition anyway because it helps us be ahead of the curve. And more importantly, space tech, we are the leaders. Whether it's SME and MSMEs, and more importantly, in our space tech policy, if you've seen it a bit closely. While we concentrating on upstream, we are also concentrating on the downstream applications. So using space tech, using space apps to solve real life problems right here. So we have also starting a center of excellence in space for this, and we have some of the best industry partners that are here, and we have the ISRO, NAL, HAL. We have the entire ecosystem that is here. Only the launch pads are elsewhere. While they're doing the research and development here, they're doing their prototypes here, they're manufacturing here. The takeoffs are happening elsewhere because that's because of the coastal advantage that they have. Whereas, although we have a long coastline, but we also have the seabird project here. So it becomes a little tricky, but everything else of the ecosystem is here.
Right. Well, I have you here, Mr. Kharge. I also have to ask you, I did read through the policies yesterday, and a lot of subsidies were also spoken of to a large extent, operational expense subsidies, land subsidies, and power reimbursement as well. And that found a prime real estate on those policies. There's been a lot of discourse when it comes to subsidies in the recent past, particularly in the context of Andhra Pradesh attracting so many investments, largely on account of the massive subsidies they're offering. I have to ask you, is this a slippery slope? And I know you've said you don't want to compete with too many neighbors of yours, but given the fact that subsidies seem to be the order of the day to attract investments, are these states in South India now venturing on a slippery slope?
No, I wouldn't say that we are venturing on a completely slippery slope, but slippery nevertheless. Only for the fact that you cannot try to attract investments by outbeating subsidies and incentives. You need to build that proper ecosystem as well. Whether it's Hyderabad, whether it's Chennai, or whether it is Bengaluru, it's taken us 2-3 decades to do so.
2025 was also the year PVR Inox decided to give its cinema audience a gastronomic treat. In a first for Indian film goers, the multiplex major launched India's first dine-in cinema, an experience that let patrons order food and have a fine dine experience all while watching a movie. And the city they chose to launch it in, you guessed it, Bengaluru. Here's a slice of our conversation with Amir Bijli of PVR Inox on the innovation itself.
We always must drive ourselves to innovate and experiment with new formats. And the South, mainly Bangalore, is such a ripe platform for such experimentation because there are it's that perfect combination of avid food lovers and extremely dedicated religious film watchers. So we thought, why not combine the two, essentially. And the developers that we work with here were extremely accommodating to allow us to experiment in such a property. In addition to the dine-in, we also have our first kids innovative format, which is a new experiential format for children to play and for parents to enjoy as well. So luckily, we were all able to make it work within this cinema. The plan, once proof of concept is achieved, to be more and more aggressive with this concept. Hopefully within the next 6 to 8 months, you see another dine-in, hopefully in Chennai, hopefully in Mumbai, and a lot of the other metro cities.
Right, but no number in terms of a roadmap pan-India, how many you want to by the end of a year?
By the end of next year, I'd say realistic assumption is about 4, including this one.
Right, interesting then. Now,
Yes.
I know for a fact that South India has often been fertile ground for you at PVR Inox to experiment with formats, experiences,
Yes.
innovations like you just mentioned. What else is in the pipeline as far as this market is concerned?
So, like we said, we just inaugurated the new Kiddles format as well. That's there. We're experimenting with gaming as well. So the beauty of a dine-in auditorium rather, is the LED and the Onyx screen. So the Onyx allows you partnered with Samsung, it allows you the capability to program much more than film on it with complete ease. So the refresh rate is accommodating for gaming, for live experiences, broadcasting becomes much, much easier, and live concerts, programming comedy, all of that really makes it quite seamless as well.
The last of our South Central Rewinds is a report that we covered this year on how South India was dating, released by Bengaluru-based dating app Aisle. The report said that South Indians were staying away from casual relationships, valuing work-life balance, mental health, and were ready to commit. So we decided to chat up with Aisle's Chandni Ganglani on some of these findings and what they meant for South Indians who were single and all ready to mingle. Let's take a look.
I think mental health awareness overall in India has picked up in a very big way. But in South, the reason it is much higher, look at the undercurrents, the societal undercurrents that have been playing since over the last decade. First, in the states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka have always been consistently in the top human developmental index, right? So it's been in the HDI for a long time. Secondly, they've been having a lot of these district mental health programs. They've been having telemanas hubs. A lot of this has led to literacy in mental health. There's a spillover out there. And this has normalized a lot of mental health conversations. This spills over to our dating landscape because today a lot of people are moving from the migrant population in Bangalore, in metros in South. So when there's diverse populations coming in, there's loneliness which is higher. They want to understand mental health better. They want to understand how it plays out in dating. And that's how we see these dots connecting.
Absolutely. But the next finding was perhaps not too surprising to me. And that is the fact that South Indians, or your findings at least reveal, that South Indians are actually more open, to interfaith marriages. The family dynamic, while it is, of course, applicable to all Indians dating today, family approval, you again see a slight difference between the South and the North.
Yeah.
What are those findings all about, Chandni, if you could help break it down for me?
I think the very first trend that we would have to look at for this is what you rightly said. 92% of respondents have unanimously across the country mentioned that family approval matters. And family approval is going nowhere. However, now when you see a North and South divide, you see that the family intervention in South is reducing. You know, people are taking up this choice by themselves. They're taking higher ownership of this choice. Look at the joint families in North versus South. It's 2x in North versus South, right? When people are moving more towards nuclear settlements, people are understanding this is a decision I need to make.
Well, that was all that we covered in 2025 from business, markets, key corporate stories, politics, policy and boardroom action. South Central brought it all to you this year. As 2025 comes to an end, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to ET Now to catch up with everything making news in South India. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2026. From all of us here at South Central, Happy New Year, and here's to keeping up with the news.